You are now tuned into the hottest podcast on the net, man. Tough Love Podcast.
It's DJ Guate. We're right here live at AE University. It's authentic or nothing. You are now watching the Tough Love Podcast.
We with Tough Love Podcast.
Tough Love Podcast.
The Tough Love Podcast.
You tuned into the Tough Love Podcast.
Tough Love Podcast, baby.
You know, sometimes I be thinking like, I think like the most hated people are the people who move out of their city. I said that to say, you know, I think that when people move out of their city, you have people that's looking at that like, you know, like you betrayed the city or something because you moved out for a better quality of life. You even had people on social media taking shots. Just because you moved here or just because you moved there don't mean nothing. You could have did the same thing here. And I always see people making these kind of accusations about other people's lives. And I always ask myself, is it, you know, is that hate? Like, is people hating on each other? You know what I mean? Like, I just be wanting to know, like, why do we hate on each other? You know, because from my perspective, I look at it as hating, right? So, I mean, you could let me know in the comments and let me know what your perspective is as well. So you don't have to believe what I believe. You can listen to it. You can disagree. You can agree, you know, but you don't have to necessarily agree with what I'm saying in order to have a dialogue about it, because I would like to know another person's opinion, because sometimes maybe I be overthinking, but to me it look like hate. When you put a status up and you say, oh, just because you moved to Arizona, it don't mean you gon', you know, do something you couldn't have did here. And I just be like, what the fuck? Like, you know, let people make their own decision. Like, you never know why they moved to Arizona. They might have better schooling out there. They might have a better, you know, a better workforce out there. They might have better opportunities for homeowners or businesses or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? And, you know, I always make my city as an example because I always see that coming from my city, Milwaukee, a lot when people saying that, you know, just because you moved to Atlanta don't mean nothing. Or I see people who move to Atlanta move back in 2 or 3 years. You know, it's just always some type of negativity when it comes to that, because I'm one of the people who moved from Milwaukee to Atlanta, you know. And before I moved to Atlanta, I was living in Chicago, so I technically wasn't even living, you know, directly from Milwaukee to Atlanta. I was in Chicago for 2.5 years before I moved to Atlanta. So, you know, I was long gone out of Milwaukee and I wasn't in Atlanta. But, you know, won't nobody make a reference to Chicago because Chicago right next door. But they will make a reference to Atlanta because it's just a hot city to talk about. You know what I mean? So, I just feel like, you know, people need to understand that, you know, individuals move to certain places out of state, man, trying to accomplish a better quality of living at the end of the day. You know, you're not moving to another state to downgrade your lifestyle. You're moving to upgrade your lifestyle in whatever, you know, capacity that you may be moving for. But at the end of the day, I don't think nobody would plan to move out of state to downgrade their lifestyle. You know what I mean? So that's just the way people have to look at it when you still living in the same state. Like, I feel like, me personally, when it comes to people moving out of state, I feel like a lot of people scared to take a shot in the dark when it comes to that. You know, a lot of people know that other states have way better opportunities, but they are um they are hesitant to move to these states because they don't know what the outcome may be, right? So you've been living in your city all your life. You know how to go from 0 to 100 again. You know what I mean? If you have to, you know how to even sustain, right? You know how to even maintain, at least if nothing else, a roof over your head in Milwaukee, or whatever city you in, because you've been living there for so long. But you don't know what the future holds if you end up going to another state. Is it gonna end up leaving you homeless? Where you out on the streets, where you don't even have resources to get back to the city where you technically from, and still have family there that can actually, help you with a living situation? It's a lot of things that run through people's head when it comes to making those type of decisions of moving out of state. Because yeah, you can move out of state with the job already lined up, but at the end of the day, who's to say that that job is gonna last? And now you running around trying to figure out another situation. You know, moving out of state is not cheap as well. It's not expensive as well. But it's not cheap. It's not just the bottom of the bottom unless you can move somewhere where you know it's a better opportunity for you and you already have resources there, like family. You got a friend there that can use a roommate or something like that until you can get on your feet. Something like that. you know. But I feel like with my situation in my city, a lot of people don't necessarily need to move out of state, but they definitely need to travel out of state. And the reason I say that is because it opens your minds to so many other ideas, man. I was one of those people that did not travel out of state. I stayed in my city. All I know is Milwaukee. Fuck anything else. I had that type of attitude, and I never cared to travel because everything I needed was right here in my city. So why the hell I'm gonna travel out of town for? Fuck another city. You know what I'm saying? That was my attitude. And once I started traveling, I noticed a lot of things, but the main thing that I noticed is that I was cheating myself out of life. You know what I'm saying? I was cheating myself out of experiencing what life really had to offer. That's what I really realized. I really realized how beautiful the world is. You know what I mean? On the ground. Because when I first started traveling, I was flying. So I really still I'm missing everything in between Milwaukee to Atlanta. I'm missing everything in between Milwaukee to Miami. You know what I mean? I'm just getting the experience from these two cities, particular cities, but nothing else in between. So when I actually start traveling on the ground between states and between, you know, all kind of different cities and stuff like that, that's when I started realizing, man, how fortunate that we are to be able to have a world like this. And it's real difficult for a lot of people to see unless you like an adventurous, right? If you one of them people who like do a lot of exploring and shit, then you get, you know what I mean? You get where I'm coming from, like as far as how beautiful the world is and how many things we haven't even began to see yet in life. You know what I mean? And people just want to stay in one city. You end up dying in that city, and you never end up really living. You just survived your whole life, but you never really lived, not one part of it. And that's what I wanted to start doing. I wanted to start living. I was tired of just surviving. I'm just surviving. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping a roof over my head. I'm just keeping enough money in my pocket. I'm just keeping enough food in my stomach. You know what I'm saying? I'm just surviving day to day. I wanted to be in a position where I can live where I can be comfortable, where I can wake up and be like, man, let me take a trip, or I can wake up and say, I want to watch cartoons and eat cereal this morning, but I'm comfortable because everything is paid for. You know what I mean? I don't have nobody chasing behind me saying, I need, I need, I need. You see what I'm saying? Like, I have a peace of mind. I can think. And that's what moving out of state gave me. It gave me a peace of mind because I wasn't around what was distracting me. You know what I mean? The streets was distracting me. My girl was distracting me. Just family distracting me. People, period. Life was distracting me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just used to the same environment, and you know, we really become robots in that environment. We do the same exact shit every single day because that's what we know how to do. We just don't realize it. A lot of times we think we're doing something different, but it's really the same shit. You know what I mean? Um, so just going back to people's perception on other folks who move out of state. I just feel like it's a bad comparison to say, you know, because you move out of state, um, don't mean you can't do the same things you couldn't have did in state. That's not even that's nowhere close. It is you can accomplish way more. And another thing about moving out of state is you focused. You can't be bullshitting. You gotta wake up every single day and get some type of money or figure out something because where you moving at, these people don't know you. Bills gotta get paid. You don't get second chances. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be ahead of your first chance. You know what I'm saying? If something fall on that, fall for your first chance, you gotta back up. Everything gotta be in line. You know what I'm saying? But that just comes with sharpening yourself, challenging yourself as a person, period. You know, if life easy, then something wrong. It shouldn't be easy for you. It shouldn't be. It should get easy, but it shouldn't be easy for you. Because if it is, something is wrong. So, I encourage a lot of people, man, to get out of town. I don't care if you got to move out of town or if you got to travel out of state. Go somewhere, clear your mind, get you some new ideas. Take the family out of town. Let them see something different, a different environment. Let them get away from, the crime and the fucking negativity, all of that stuff, man, and give them a fighting chance. Give your children a fighting chance, you want the best for your child. Milwaukee is not the best state for colleges. It's not the best state for any type of divisionary schooling at all. And it's a lot of states that do offer better education, higher education. So it's not about what you're doing for yourself only, it's for your kids as well, for their overall outcome. Not the immediate, but the overall, you know. And, it's just about researching different places, man, and seeing where you want to go. I done seen people move to Colorado. I done seen people move to Arizona. I done seen people move to Texas, to Miami, or to not to Miami, but to Florida. Different parts of Florida. And they just wanted something different. You go down there and you still got family back home. Home gonna always be home. The meal gonna always be home, but that ain't where you want to end your journey. You started it there. You don't want to end it there. I always look at a good example like what my cousins and them did. Right, my cousins, and I never understood it from the beginning because, like I said, I had this mindset where it was like, hey, I'm in my city, man. Everything else ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? So my cousins, when they had children, it was my two girl cousins. I ain't gonna name them, but My two girl cousins, they had children. Damn, they're kind of close to around each other, the same time as each other. And my cousins was the type of people that always travel. Now they're a little bit older than me. They're a couple years older than me. I ain't gonna tell you how old I am neither, but just know they're a couple of years older than me. I say around maybe 4 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So they big cousins them. But they had children. They traveled a lot with their kids, and I never understood why. They in North Carolina, Greensboro, then they in Alabama, Tuscaloosa, uh different places, man. Like year by year. You know what I'm saying? It's like another year or another 2 years I'm hearing about them moving somewhere. So I'm like, damn, they moving a lot of places. And they got kids, and why they moving their kids out of school? And I'm thinking the same thing. A lot of people always say don't take your kids out of school, this and that. You know what I'm saying? Because then they got to start their education all over. They got to meet new friends and all that. Nah, I'm gonna tell you, I feel the end result is that was the best decision. I mean, at least for her. And I ain't saying that every parent should take that method, because it won't work for everybody. But I'm saying the method that she took, I feel was good, because her kids know multiple languages, right? They've been around multiple demographics of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, they schooled with a lot of people, so it's not like that they was just with their own peers. You know what I'm saying? And what it did is it gave them a different perspective on life. Like, it opened their mind up to different things. And of course, her all of their kids are actively in sports right now. But I mean, just on some super educated stuff, they there too. You know what I'm saying? They talk brilliantly. They kids still. You know what I'm saying? Her son, I believe he like 13 now, maybe. And her older son is 13. And then my other niece is, I believe she probably like 12 or 10. You know what I'm saying? But they educated as hell. I'm talking about you could talk to them just like adults, like for real. And they, like I said, know multiple languages. They you could talk to them on any kind of educational level. I'm talking about with any kind of subject, and animals or science, or just different stuff. They will come and address you about it. Like, they cold with it. And that's why I was saying, like, and I don't feel like if they just went to a public school in Chicago, they would have came out that way. You know what I mean? They would have came out with that kind of a knowledge. And I feel like even if staying in the same city, they wouldn't have came out with that same kind of knowledge. So, but that's just an example of why I think moving out of your city helps more than hurts. At the end of the day, we gotta stop hating on each other. It just ain't right. Not for that particular issue. We don't hate on each other, man. We congratulate each other for making them type of moves, because it's not no move anybody makes lightly. Nobody sits there and easily decides to say, yeah, let's move out of state. Hell, especially a family. Nobody does that. So it's a decision that's been made over the course of months in most cases, if not years. So when people do move, congratulate them, man. Congratulate them, because they just trying to get a better quality of life. Whether you do it in your city or out of your city, that's something that should be congratulated. But that's what I wanted to touch on, man. Let's stop hating on each other. Let's uplift each other when it comes to better quality of living. This your boy Trae Gee. You are now tuned into the hottest station on the motherfucking net. Tough Love Podcast. Let's get it.
DJ Guate, we're right here live at AE University. It's Authentic Connecting. You're now watching the Tough Love Podcast.
We with Tough Love Podcast.
Tough Love Podcast.
The Tough Love Podcast.
You tuned into the Tough Love Podcast.
Tough Love Podcast, baby.